So you're telling me that I could have lost more weight that year if I'd simply started playing Pokemon Go at 8 or 9 in the morning instead of at noon. A month ago, I talked about how I hurt my back and I had to take a break from working out for the most part. Yeah, pretty much I just had to stop working out until further notice. After Easter, I decided to start easing myself back into it, or rather, taking a different approach, and close my exercise rings on my watch. Uh, Most days of the week. I didn't close them yesterday, the day before I record this. But basically, I decided to try one of the strength programs on Apple Fitness Plus, which conveniently were 4 days a week, and then I could just do the same Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday approach that I took when I had my plan. Instead of just not doing anything on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Friday, I usually work the instant gratification job, but I had those days off this week as I record this. So I decided to fill that time by doing a time to walk, doing at least one workout on Apple Fitness Plus every single day to get my money's worth. Which is why I took an interest to this article from Women's Health. This viral morning routine helps me tackle my days better than ever, and it's totally free by Ava Erickson. Now, from the outside, it said, I walked 2,000 plus steps outside every morning for 30 days. Here's what happened. So, yeah, that's why I took an interest in it, and we're going to see what those real results were. Now, I'm still doing the strength thing because one of the emails I got from my health insurance's newsletter said something about the importance of, or maybe it was my doctor's office. I don't remember. It might have been one of those. I just know they said that it's important to maintain strength when you're doing things like walking more or something like that. Anyway, let's get into the article. I've gone on long enough about my own habits. The health and wellness world is packed with so-called life-changing hacks, but two of the buzziest are surprisingly simple: steps and sunlight. The benefits of walking are well established. It's low impact, great for cardiovascular health, and important for your mental health. And morning sunlight has long been praised by experts for its ability to improve sleep and boost mood. I can tell you that exercise is also a great way for improving sleep. Because when I started walking around town for 4 hours a day playing Pokemon Go back in 2016, I noticed that I fell asleep a lot more easily. You know, I felt that both night I had to sleep 10 hours to make up for the fact I stayed up really late over the previous 3 nights to rehearse for staying up to pre-order my Nintendo Switch 2. I learned that exercise helps with that too. But I guess I'm gonna have to do better on the morning sunlight because the only day that I went out that early was Monday, and that's when I did a time to walk to get to the supermarket to buy some groceries and then get a ride home because I was transporting ice cream. Habit stacking these two behaviors is pretty simple, so I decided to put it to the test by committing to 30 days of 2,000 steps outside every morning within the first hour after waking. Here's what I found and whether or not I'll be continuing this habit long term. Starting small made it surprisingly easy, and the energy and mood boost kicked in almost instantly. When deciding how long my morning walk would be, I knew I needed to choose something practical for a daily commitment, even on busy days. I settled on 2,000 steps around 1 mile. It would take me about 15 minutes each morning, which wouldn't be too drastic of an addition to my routine, but would still get me enough morning sunlight. Experts suggest for 5 to 10 minutes on sunny days, 15 to 20 on cloudy ones. More on that below. I actually did something similar where I did a time to walk on Apple Fitness Plus first thing every single morning, while also doing what Pokemon Go stuff I could. And then I kind of gave up on the day that I tested positive for COVID, which I'm starting to wonder if maybe that was the the cause of it because I pushed myself too hard or something like that. I don't know. You let me know in the comments down below. Day one was easy. It was a Friday, it was sunny, and I was working from home, so I wasn't worried about getting ready for the day or my commute. Over the weekend, I was loving my new routine, and it even exceeded 2,000 steps most mornings. I thought you said you did 2,000 steps every single morning, so I think a better hook would have been I tried to do 2,000 steps every morning. No, wait, you said exceeded, so he probably just hit the bare minimum and then was like, okay, time to move on. Day 5, a Tuesday, was when I hit my first roadblock and completely forgot to do my walk. I remembered the late morning as I was walking to the train, so I decided to take the long route to make up for the missed morning steps. Living in New York City, I often take for granted how many steps I typically clock by the end of an average day. I walk to the subway to get a coffee, then to the grocery store, etc. So I normally end the day with well over 10,000 steps. But during this challenge, forcing myself to set aside intentional time for walking in the morning made me feel more focused on work, more energized, less groggy, and more ready to take on the day. Wow, I envy New York City's walkability. My only real complaint is that they have cars sharing the road with bicycles and pedestrians being crammed into the sidewalk, but sounds pretty walkable, all things considered. Still, I stand by what I said about Walt Disney being right about moving car traffic underground. On day 10, I decided to up my target to 30 minutes of walking each morning after speaking with physical therapist Winnie Yu, DPT CSCS of Bespoke Treatments in New York City, about the benefits of morning walking. You explained that 30 minutes allows for enough time for your heart rate to climb, muscles to activate, and means more sun exposure, meaning greater benefits. Since I was handling 2,000 steps for 15 minutes just fine, for the remainder of the challenge, I doubled it. While my 15-minute walks were great for my mood and helped clear my head, I didn't feel like they were doing much for my fitness. Walking for 30 minutes in comparison brought my heart rate up a little higher and kept me on my feet longer. The increase didn't seem like much at first, but fitting it in along with my normal morning activities required a little more planning. However, I noticed the benefits more than I had before, which instantly made it worth it. I think that's a block that a lot of people face with trying to work out is planning it into their busy days. Or busy, depending on how you look at it. Sure, you have 8 hours of work and then however much time for commuting. But then during that window between when you get home and when you go to bed, a lot of people defer to watching Netflix or something like that. And I'm guilty of this myself, although I don't have Netflix at the moment. I watched the season finale of Dope Thief on Apple TV Plus last night. Most people just want to make dinner and then do their own thing, or they have families that they have to I don't want to say deal with. They want to give love and attention to. I mean, you could probably integrate a walk into that. Bring the kids, bring the spouse. If you're single, still go out for a walk anyway. Maybe you won't get the sunlight benefits, but you'll get the exercise benefits. Maybe reduce the amount of media consumption you do at night, like what I've been doing. Not to brag, but I've been reducing myself to one TV episode or one movie per night, depending on the situation. More TV throughout the night or throughout the week, because that can be anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And I also live stream here on at nights. So, yeah. Not every single night. I have learned that there are some nights that are not going to be suited to that. But enough prattling on about that. Let's get back to the article. Morning walks in sunlight helped me reclaim my energy. After the first few days of the challenge, I started to feel a real shift. I was feeling more alert and awake throughout the day, especially in that post lunch slump where I usually feel groggy and tired. I'd often try to go for a walk in the afternoon to shake it off, but getting out in the morning helped prevent it in the first place. I quickly learned that a little morning light and movement goes a long way for me, for my focus, mood, and energy. I lucked out with a long stretch of sunny mornings during the challenge, and soaking in that early light boosted my mood in the biggest way. I found myself looking forward to the fresh impending spring air and that sense of calm before the chaos of the workday. I've always preferred exercising after work since I like to eat beforehand, but in the winter, especially, that means way less sunlight exposure. Doing this challenge made me realize how important it is for me to get outside first thing, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Now I'm planning to keep that habit going, even if it just means sitting on my stoop with a coffee while checking my email. I've been meaning to do something like that. I bet if Sam Wilson saw me thinking about it but never really taking action, he'd be like, "You've got to do better, Henry. You've got to step outside. You've got to take in the sunlight." Here's why morning sunlight steps are a game changer for restful sleep and a stable mood. Morning sun exposure is key to stabilizing our circadian rhythm for a number of reasons, according to Lisa Strauss, PhD, a licensed psychologist specializing in the cognitive behavioral treatment of sleep disorders and a contributing columnist for the Washington Post. It shuts off our nighttime production of melatonin. It also tells our biological clock that the sun is up, that it's morning. The third thing that it does is instruct our bodies to start manufacturing melatonin in earnest in about 14 hours, which supports falling asleep again in about 16 hours, she says. Even on a cloudy day, the sun is still vastly more effective for these purposes compared to artificial indoor lighting, she says. So you're saying that the lamps on either side of my setup aren't giving me my internal clock the instructions it needs for when to produce melatonin? Oh, way to go, lamps. I'm so proud of you. Whatever. I can just hear Sam Wilson telling me I've got to do better. Recent research backs this up. More time spent in outdoor light during the day was associated with better mood, improved sleep quality, and more stable circadian rhythms, according to a 2022 study in Journal of Affective Disorders. Participants who got more light exposure reported fewer insomnia symptoms, easier wake ups, and a naturally earlier sleep wake cycle. Morning light may also play a direct role in improving mental health. Bright light therapy in the early hours of the day helped regulate circadian rhythms and lifted symptoms of seasonal depression in a 2024 study published in NPJ Digital Medicine, likely due to its impact on hormone levels and mood regulating neurotransmitters. Natural light assists with alertness. It stimulates production of cortisol, and it stimulates release of certain neurotransmitters, says Strauss. Uh, isn't cortisol something we want to avoid? Let me just take a second look. Natural light assists with alertness. It stimulates production of cortisol, and it stimulates release of certain neurotransmitters. Okay, my bad. I think it that the cortisol is for early in the day, because I'm guessing if you increase your cortisol later in the day, that contributes to making it more difficult to fall asleep. However, Strauss warns that you can get morning light too early. When that happens, the biological clock may compute that the sun is still up rather than that it is newly up, throwing off the cycle. Strauss says the rule of thumb is to get natural light within about an hour of natural waking. Since this can vary by a lot by person, she recommends consulting a sleep specialist if you are experiencing sleep issues. Sun exposure can also have a positive impact on mood and help combat seasonal affective disorder. We know that light has positive impact on mood, she says. Overall, good sleep helps mood and good mood helps sleep. And the light and dark conditions to promote good sleep tend to be the same ones that promote good mood, she says. Although Strauss warns that if you suffer from a serious mental illness like bipolar, avoid changing your light exposure timing without consulting an expert to avoid triggering symptoms. Walking any time of the day is great for joint health, cardiovascular fitness, and vitamin D absorption if you are outside. But there are unique benefits to walking in the morning, according to you. So I guess that's why my Pokemon Go habits. Yeah, I can testify right now my Pokemon Go habits from 2016 caused me to lose 30 pounds from throughout the second half of 2016. And I didn't start playing Pokemon Go until noon most days. I would take care of other things in the morning, and then I would dedicate noon to 4 to just walking around town playing Pokemon Go. Did not come home until Well, the streetlights didn't exactly turn on at 4 o'clock during the summer. But you get the idea. Same principle as don't come home till the streetlights come on. That the boomers and Gen Xers were told to follow. I mean, yeah, I still had the screen of the phone to refer to, but at least I was physically out there. You know, maybe I should start a new Pokemon Go profile and document my habits. Try recreating my Pokemon Go habits as best as possible. You let me know in the comments down below if you'd watch that. I'll do it. Adding in some walking, even just 30 minutes in the morning, could go a long way in terms of kickstarting that metabolism, she says. Working out in the morning may even give you a leg up when it comes to weight loss, according to a 2020 review of expert exercise and sports sciences reviews. So you're telling me that I could have lost more weight that year if I'd simply started playing Pokemon Go at 8 or 9 in the morning instead of at noon. The researchers suggest a few reasons why, like the fact that morning workouts can curb your appetite later in the day. Wouldn't they increase your appetite later in the day because you burned more calories? And they're often done before eating, which may support weight loss. Plus, exercising early helps reinforce your body's internal clock, signaling it to wake up and get moving, which is especially helpful since disruptions to your circadian rhythm have been linked to issues like diabetes and obesity. While we still need more research to know exactly how much workout timing affects metabolism, getting it done in the morning can be a great way to build a consistent habit. Until you have something that forces you out of the habit, like testing positive for COVID. I speak from experience. That being said, though, it is still possible to get back into it. I mean, look at what I'm doing this month with Apple Fitness Plus. Finally getting back into working out on there and not more than just the meditations, which I'm thinking about dropping those because I don't really pay much attention to those anyway. I'll figure out the mindfulness stuff later. Alright, and then I think the rest of this is just walking gear. Okay. $50. Not a bad price for these. Sorry, I'm not trying to promote the product. I'm just curious because I have the pair of wireless earbuds for my Switch is starting to kind of fall apart. Like the panel on the left one is coming off every now and then. I have to push it back into place. Well, that's what happens when you spend $60 on something like that compared to the $250 that AirPods Pro 2 go for, at least at MSRP. I got these for $180 because they were on sale at Best Buy. And I happened to catch when they were on sale for that price so that my mom could get my grandmother the same model to use as the hearing aids. because I'm a nice guy and I attract these kinds of prices. Well, anyway, the rest of the article is more walking gear that I'm not going to. Let's just read the last little bit of it after all the products she was hawking. Waking up early on cold mornings is hard. Here's what helped me stay consistent. I could actually use advice like that. 1. I figured out a pre-walk snack. I'm one of those breakfast first thing people. I wake up hungry, so the thought of walking before eating was a little daunting, but grabbing a few dates or bringing a banana with me to snack on during the walk made that first hour much more doable. Well, I can't exactly bring my breakfast taco for that, especially because I'd have to go through the effort of putting it together, but I can consider something like that. 2. I prepped for the cold and for my future self. Making time for a new habit, especially one that depends on time of day, was tough, but setting my alarm just a little bit earlier helped, as well as laying out my warm coat and hat the night before. Having everything ready made it easier to get out the door. Just like you plan any events in your calendar, put that 30-minute time physically into your weekly calendar because then you know this is your dedicated time to walking, says you. I do that. Like I have a daily 45-minute workout calendar icon, though right now I have one specifically for strength, like for the strength program, and another for the, what is it? The time to walk. That's what they're called. Like after I finish recording this video and any other ones I do today, I am going to be doing that 30-minute strength workout. Total body. Anyway, let's get to the final point of the article. I reminded myself it's always worth it. Sure, there were mornings where I had a little trouble getting out of bed, but every time I took that first step outside, I was glad I did. And that's the article for you. Yeah, consistency is key. Now, summer of 2016, I did have Pokemon Go motivating me to get out there every single day, unless it was raining. Or I think I took Sundays off. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I took Sundays off, and then I just left the house at noon to go on my little adventure, walking around town, catching Pokemon, going somewhere for lunch. I mean, yeah, it was pretty high calories, but when you consider how much I was walking around, honestly, it more than balanced out as evidenced by the fact that my physical at the end of that year, I had lost 30 pounds compared to my physical and uh I think my previous one had been fall of 2014 because I managed to trick my mom into not scheduling one throughout 2015. I'll be honest, back then I was really scared of the doctor's office and would go out of my way to weasel out of it where possible. Nowadays, I have gone probably more since my first physical as an adult in 2023. Like the first one on my own insurance with my primary care provider. Because I happen to, since I pay for the insurance myself now, I may as well put it to use if I have something concerning going on. But on that note, I'm going to leave it here for the video. Have you ever thought about trying a habit like this? Do you actually follow a habit like this? Do you prefer doing these kinds of things in the afternoon or later in the day. Like, my mom always goes to the gym in the evenings. I swear, since she joined that one, she has never gone. No, she's gone in the morning on weekends, but that's it. Me, I'm more of an afternoon guy. That's why I schedule my workout for right at noon. Though I think I might try doing one of the Apple Fitness Plus time to walks in the mornings, maybe before breakfast, or if I can find something that doesn't require cooking, I'll eat that first, and then make my breakfast taco. So, comment your habits like that and whether this inspired you or anything like that. Give this video a like, subscribe for daily videos. I'll see you soon.